What is up, everybody? Happy Sunday. I know it has been a minute since we've done one of these, and I promised you guys that this would happen every week. And we're back on track now that I am home for a hot minute and my schedule is somewhat normal. You can expect these on our routine basis, Ed. Yes, you are first. There we go. Oh, one moment. We'll get there we go. The chat pulled up and we are ready for a Sunday. What's everybody doing? Are we watching the NFL games? The Packers are actually winning, so that's a good way to start Sunday. I tried to do this at not like really prime time ish. I mean, it definitely depends who you're cheering for today. But yeah, I have had a nice little lazy Sunday. I did my dishes, I did laundry. It's raining outside, so the dogs are trapped in the kitchen right now. And I'm in my nice little comfy, cozy hoodie. I've already done my skincare routine for the day. I'm basically ready for bed whenever I feel like going in my room and tapping out. So if you notice the shine on my face, we've been really trying to take care and hydrate our face because the winter is upon us. And we have a lot to talk about today. We have a lot of good content to chat about. Oh, that is awesome. Did you go anywhere to watch the game, Ed? I went and watched the Syracuse game at a bar that's not really downtown, so you don't get as many of the college students. Ooh, Saber. But that was fun. We'll talk about that and how we ended up crashing a 40th high school year reunion, which was interesting to say the least. Hanging out basically with a bunch of people that are my parents' age, a little bit younger than my parents, nonetheless. But it was quite interesting. Let me make sure. Oh, the link is finally like posting preview on my YouTube. So that's great. I don't know. Maybe you had to do a certain amount of like shows before it let you to know that you're somewhat legit. Um, One moment. We'll get this posted. Okay. But other than that, I've really enjoyed being home. It has been a nice change of pace. Yesterday afternoon, I went to Green Lakes, which is, I don't know, it's a county park. I don't think it's a state park. It's a county park, but it's really beautiful. You can actually play golf there. Really hard to get a tee time. Um, Even on like weekdays, I try every year, and every year it never happens. I've only successfully been able to golf there once, but they also have like this hiking loop that you can do around the two lakes, which was really pretty. I brought my two dogs. But no, I only brought Miko. And my friend Nicole brought her dog Willow, and it was the first time they met. They became friends. We were there for like 2.5 hours, but it was like 60 degrees out. The fall foliage was already popping, so it was great. But that was really nice. I'm also happy that I'm going to be Noelle. Hey, good to have you joining us as well. I'm glad that I'm going to be home for Halloween because my nephew is always just a ball. He's 4 years old. It's so much fun to go out for Halloween with him. And this year he wants to be a Wolverine. And then my niece, who's only 6 months old, she's going to be a pig. So I told my sister that her and I should also be pigs. So it's the three little pigs and the big bad wolf, which will be fun because I doubt my brother-in-law will dress up. So he'll come and hang, but we'll do the fun costumes and maybe some fun makeup, which is always a good time. Okay, let's get into it. So first, The title of this is, new content, new stuff that I'm gonna be working on. I have been so obviously doing these live shows, I've been revamping my YouTube channel, and I've done, like, some tactical games content when I was out there for an athlete camp, and I did this, like, Victor Hoffer piece, so super rough cut, more or less, like, I wanted to get a lot of interviews and see, like, what the interest of that style of content was. Um, Not super polished for that one, but more or less just like, "Hey, let's test the temperature, and then if it's something, I'll invest more into it." But, I mean, my bread and butter is doing interviews, and I'm trying to think, like because I obviously still do stuff with Talking Elite Fitness, and I love that. Working with Sean and Tommy, doing that is great, but what can I also leverage some of my skills on my own channel? So I'm going to be doing interviews with people outside of the CrossFit space. I don't I don't wanna reveal all of them. I think I'll tell you, like, what 'cause some of the conversations I've had verbal commitments, but, like, I don't have them on the calendar yet. I know for sure I'm gonna be driving to Elmira, which is, like, an hour and a half from me, in next week for Meg Jacoby. So she was the champion for High Rocks last season. She's already competed in the first one this year, so I'm gonna go spend the afternoon with her, and it's not going to be the behind the scenes of what you see other people doing. I want to see how often I can do in-person podcasts, where I can get a little bit of B-roll to overlay during the podcast, but really just an opportunity to sit down with a lot of interesting people in other sports or other spaces and put that content on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to be catching up with her. I'm going to be catching up with what will I call her? I'll call her a fitness influencer. She has her own programming, has her own nutrition, like has done CrossFit, but does like more functional bodybuilding now. Um, she loves dogs, and those are the hints that I'll give for her. I'll obviously be sitting down with a couple of people in the tactical game space. So ahead of nationals, I'll be interviewing last year's two champions. One of them includes a familiar name you guys know, Jacob Hepner. So a little bit of crossover there. And then when I get to tactical games, I'm hoping to get a couple of like sit down, like I said, those in-person podcast interviews with some B-roll and stuff over it. But I also have a couple of feelers out for a couple of men in the golf space. So that will be interesting. It looks like you have reporter in your blood. I do. So speaking of, you know what? We do kind of whatever we want on this YouTube live, and that's what I love about it. I'm gonna try to screen share because when I was recently in Utah, I was there for Summit Games. Was that last weekend? Oh my gosh, time flies. I don't even know where we are. And we were at the Salt Flats, and it was me, Enrique, a content creator. If you guys haven't met him in the CrossFit space, one of the nicest humans ever. My friend and content creator, Heather Weir. And then this other content creator who I've only worked with one other time. Surprisingly enough, it was in Holt, Florida at a tactical games event, but she does stuff in the CrossFit space, was Liz. And Liz didn't realize that my former life was being in local television. And I was like, oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe like what my voice used to sound like and like all of the weird stuff and how I even used to look. And she's like, okay, well, I want to see, do you have any videos? And on my YouTube channel, they're there, but I have them private because I don't want people just like aimlessly, honestly, like I don't know why I care if anybody aimlessly snoops. Like it's kind of funny. Yeah, they're all on private right now. But what did she say? She said that I looked like a Stanford stay-at-home wife or something like that, and I just thought it was so funny. Which one did I show her? Because I'll share screen it with you guys, and then it maybe I'll release them. Maybe I'll make it unprivate just for the good times. Which one was it? Anchor reel. Was it this one? Hold, please. Wait, I don't know if you guys can hear if I don't. No, it wasn't this one. There's just so many. Remember I tried to find an old one for her because that's the most entertaining is baby Lauren when I first got into it. You know what? I'll make some of these public after just to give people some entertainment for the day. YOLO. But since you guys are here, you guys get the first looks of a little share screen. Trad wife is trending on TikTok. Trad wife? What does that even mean? I need more context. Did I delete it? Oh, video reel 2015. This has gotta be the one. Oh man. Yes. Okay. 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 Hold please. I gotta share a screen. I just I want genuine feedback on what all of your initial reactions is to some of this. Okay. It's so funny. It's like going through your old I'm sure that singers or actors and actresses sometimes do this too. LOL. Oh, okay. Get your popcorn ready. Oh, dear Lord. Okay. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to hear the audio, so, let me know. I'll play it in a minute. Okay, here we go. We'll just play a little bit.
KHQA this morning, working for you.
Welcome back to KHQA this morning on this Labor Day. I'm Chad Douglas.
And I'm LaurenK. Teddy bears, pictures, flowers, and
Oh
crosses are
my
just a
God,
few
I'm
things
dead.
left here at the memorial that has been up since the shooting on March 28th. Just one of many sidewalks that have been completely ripped up
Look at
by the
that
storm last
outfit.
night.
What is
As you can see,
happening?
this
What is that
massive tree
necklace?
has just completely crossed over the road here on Lynn Street. Something of this magnitude obviously is not going to just be cleaned up in a day.
Bad
This
extensions.
is going to take time. They're going to have to get trucks here, cut more of the wood, and haul these pieces away. So as we back up now, maybe you can take a look even more of just how big this tree is. Well, this morning I am with the official
Hannibal,
Tom and
Missouri.
Becky here in Hannibal. Now, this weekend's Memorial Day, what kind of events
Good
do you have
times
going
living
on?
there.
Now, an update of a story KHQA
I
News
look
brought
like
you
I'm
last
50
night.
years
4
old
teenagers are
there.
seriously injured, and a 16-year-old driver has been charged in the crash that happened yesterday evening in Adams County. And then if you walk over here with me, there are still 3 fire trucks here. They are going to keep one of the fire trucks when they start the investigation, but again, that cannot start until all of the hot spots are out. Officials fear 2 convicted murderers that broke out of a New York prison may have now fled the country. Right now, I'm standing.
Well, there you go. There you have it. Maybe, like I said, I will make that unprivate. Oh, how do I get back to there we go. Maybe I'll just let the internet do what it's meant to do and just have at it with some good old school journalism of Lauren back in the day. Could you guys hear the audio when I share screen? I don't know if it always works like that, but yeah, so it was just really funny when she only knows me as I was now and not then. Where is the bright pink back then? Oh, one of the first outfits that I wore was hot pink. Ooh, Noelle, good question. Was there ever a story you were reporting on that really that really impacted you one way or another, at least at the time? Yeah, I mean, I I know that when I talk about my TV life, normally I talk about the negativity of it, but there really were impactful stories. And I mean, a lot of the ones that I was doing, not so much when I lived in the Midwest, but specifically when I moved back to New York, they were very important stories. Like a lot of them were standoffs or shootings or situations where families had lost loved ones. So I mean, yeah, like all of those conversations were incredibly impactful. You're talking to people on arguably the worst day of their lives, and sometimes you're that person for them to vent to in the moment. So I think that in itself was a really important job, was sometimes to honestly like just be there for people. But I do remember at my first news station, there was this story that I did about this sidewalk that the city just wouldn't fix. And there was this man that lived on the city that was handicapped, and he was in a wheelchair, and he had wrote into the news station like, "Hey, I can't even go for my like daily strolls outside because of this sidewalk, and they just won't fix it and whatever." So I did a news story with him, and then like a month later they actually fixed the sidewalk. So seeing impactful journalism like that create change, I thought was really cool. And yeah, I mean, I got to do a lot of cool things. I'm not gonna lie. I went up in helicopters, airplanes. I went, what was it? In a hot air balloon for a festival that was doing them, while I got to watch the sunrise and sunsets in front of the ocean or lakes, great Lake Michigan. So there definitely wasn't all bad. And I met a ton of very interesting people along the way. But just as I've mentioned, just the culture of like local news and the ecosystem around it just is, in my opinion, not healthy for anyone or most people. But to each their own. And you could hear the audio. Okay, good to know that when I share screen, it does that. How many different stations did you work for? What places? So my first TV station was KHQA. So the one with like that really cheesy opening graphic. That was in Quincy, Illinois. But we covered the tri-states. So we covered, because it was like right on the border of Missouri and Iowa. So we covered Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri, which at first, especially after graduating college, I'm like, okay, whatever, like not a big deal. Well, when you're reporting on statewide elections, it's really confusing because you have to remember all of these different people. You have to remember all of like the state laws. Like, even this sounds so weird, but there was this bridge. I forget what the bridge was called, but when you cross over from Illinois to Missouri, uh, in Illinois, I believe in Illinois, you had the law that you had to wear a helmet on a motorcycle, but in Missouri, you didn't. So it'd be interesting that you'd watch people cross over, and depending what side they would be like going from one end to another, they'd either be wearing a helmet and then take it off, or have it off and then put it back on. And so covering the tri-states got a little bit confusing. There was actually a lot of what were they? Me Car explosions, because people, they're in like these poorer areas. I believe it was mostly in Missouri, right over the border, that people would make meth inside their car and they would explode. So it was common for us to report on car explosions, which I obviously had not been familiar with until I worked at the TV station. So that was one. My first one. I worked there for a year and a month exactly. And then that's where I got a gig in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Wow. Yeah. I've only worked for 3 TV stations in that matter of 8 years, but I was the longest in Green Bay, Wisconsin. There, I only covered the state of Wisconsin. No, that's not right. Sometimes we would go to Michigan if we were doing really in-depth storm coverage, or like some of those maybe not this one, because this was 2015 and I was still in Quincy in 2015. I'm pretty sure that was my reporter and anchor reel that I used to get my job in Green Bay, Wisconsin. But there was some really bad storms that uprooted a lot of trees. There was this yacht club, and I want to say that was in Michigan, parts of Wisconsin and in Michigan. So sometimes we would cross over to like other states if the coverage was extensive enough. Cause I mean, for that, gosh, we drove like 4 hours, and me and the videographer who I were working with, we stayed there for like 5 days, 4 nights. So there were times where they would send us to other areas to do different types of coverage. Okay, the when are we gonna get the juicy gossip about the bar and the high school reunion? Kidding, kinda. Okay, we can get into that now. So me and my friend Nicole, she's one of my friends from the gym, and her and I have both been single for, I mean, she hasn't been single that long. I think only since April, but she's a little bit younger, so it maybe it's a little bit different. Your girl here has been, I wouldn't say technically because I did have that boyfriend last summer, but if you date for 2 months, that doesn't really count. I've been truly single from like any serious relationship for about 7 years now. So she's like, "Oh my gosh, my friend told me that we should go to this sports bar because Syracuse is playing tonight and everybody's going to be there. And obviously, a bunch of dudes are going to be there for the game." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And this is the girl who I went on the dog walk with. So we get there and we look around, and the first thing I say to her is, "Wow, there is a wide range of people here." She was like, "Yeah, it's kind of strange because it's like young 20s and then like 50s. And then there's her who's like mid to late 20s. And then there was me, early 30s. So it was just this really weird vibe." And so we find 2 seats up at the corner of the bar. And I was like, "Girl, we are sitting, we are scoping here. Like, this is great people watching. If anything, it's just going to be like a fun night for that." And all of these like older people, yeah, we'll get to the $40. Don't you worry. That one is interesting. And so we see all of these like older people that have um it's like about this big on their shirt and it has their high school picture with their name on it. So we obviously inquire like, "Hey, why are you guys wearing these like name tags?" And they're like, "Oh, it's our 40th high school reunion." So was it no, it wasn't Phil. Pete? Hold on. We're gonna just that. Yeah. Okay. So this man named Peter scooches up right in between me and my friend Nicole. And he's got to be what, like 50? If it's your 40-year high school reunion, I don't know, probably around 50s. Maybe you guys can help me. Louise, hello. Good to see you. Glucose Guardians hit on you. What does that mean? I don't know. I need more of an explanation. So so this man Peter comes right in between us and just starts rattling off like 10 drinks to this bartender, which like this bartender was a boss ass babe. Like, she had to be only like 24 and she was running this ship. Like, hundreds of people in this bar. She's doing everything, whatever. And so like he was right in between us, and then he was like, afterwards he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry for like interrupting and interjecting in between you two. You guys can be on my tab all night. It's open tab." And then the first thing I ask is, "Well, what's the limit?" And he says, "There is no limit." So Nicole and I look at each other and we're like, because I had drove us because I was only planning on having like a drink or two. I don't really drink. I don't enjoy it. And she was like, "Should we get an Uber and just pick up your car tomorrow?" And I was like, "I mean, I don't know, maybe like we're on this guy's tab now. We have to like get apps, we have to get drinks. Like, this is going to be a time." So this man starts telling us like all about his reunion and how he so if you look at him up, Peter Catalano, he has a law firm for like injury, and right outside of the bar is his big billboard. Was it planned that way to have your reunion at a place where your billboard was? Probably, but it doesn't matter. This guy seems like a fun time. Like, he's telling us about his reunion, he's telling us about his class. So then, of course, knowing that he's an older man, probably similar to the age of our parents, we ask him, "Hey, do you have a son?" He was like, "Actually, I do, 28." And I was like, "Oh, that's a little bit young for me." And Nicole's like, "Okay, tell me more," because she's like 26 or 27. So he's telling us all of the things about his son and all green flags. Like, he is into accounting, he has no debt, and then he's telling us like that he drives a Lamborghini, and then I'm just right to it, and I was like, "Is it his Lamborghini or is it your Lamborghini?" And Mr. Peter did not answer the question. I was like, okay, starting to get some red flags. It sounds like he has money because his daddy gives him money and he's 28 years old. So then I followed up with, wait, because Nicole is already ready to like get set up with this man and go on a date. And I go, "Does he live on his own?" And Peter goes, Well, he lives on the lake. And I go, does he live at home? And then this woman comes up that like was in the graduating class with Peter, and she's just like so entertained by this conversation. And he was like, "Well, no, but he basically like has his own apartment living at home." And I'm just like, "No, like that doesn't count. He's 28 years old. He has a job. You say he's so successful. Why doesn't he have any independence? I don't understand. Like that doesn't make sense for to me." And then he tries to backpedal and like pump up his son and da da da. So then Nicole's like, "Okay, you need to get my number and give it to your son because at the very least I want to drive in this Lamborghini or whatever the nice car that he has is." So this man's giving us a hoot. And then he, like, takes her number. I'm very curious if he ends up, like, giving it to his son. But, yeah, so there was that. We then ended up on his tab, and then this woman who was standing over, then she inquires to us, and these women were amazing. They came over, they're asking, like, "Why are we single?" And we're telling them, like, "Because these boys still live at home." And they're like, "Yeah, like, if I had to do it again, like, I would have been just like you guys." And it was just, like, a really funny conversation. Hours later, Peter comes back with this woman, and they were like, "Okay, this is gonna be a really strange question, but we're only asking because we know your age range and we might just be out of touch." We're like, "Oh god, what are they about to ask us?" And they're like, "Is choking common?" We're like, What?" And then they both go down this rabbit hole, how they saw on TikTok that choking is a common thing sexually for like millennials and people our age, but they've never heard of it before. So just imagine somebody your parents' age, if you're, in your early 30s, like my age, and going up to somebody and asking that question. Like, what in the world is happening? But regardless, like these people were a hoot. There was like 50 of them. I ended up only getting 2 drinks over the course of 5 hours or however long we were there. So I ended up not taking advantage of being on Mr. Peters' tab, which was unfortunate. So oh wait, you don't like someone with daddy issues? Mind blown. I know. Well, the thing is, like, Peter, that's great that your son has a job. Oh, and apparently like he's putting himself through law school. Amazing. These are really great qualities. But why do you live at home? Oh, and then I forgot. I asked Peter, I was like, so what happens when he brings a girl home? Like, does he say to this said girl, "Hey, want to come over to mom and dad's house for a date or like to hang out or whatever it is?" Like, that's weird. He didn't see the problem with it, but I don't know. Oh, me honestly, no. I think it was a high school reunion party, but maybe it was a pineapple party. I'm not sure. What I do on my Tuesday nights is my business. Yeah, it was very strange. No, there was no tipsy IG live. I just got 2 Moscow mules and I called it a day. The guy Peter was a very good story. Um, he like 60. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought. Like 50s, 60s. Okay, Ed, I mean, you already asked the question, just let it rip, I suppose, while we get into our story about the $40. So talking about like 2 extremes. So you have this one group of people who are there for their 40-year high school reunion. And then you have Vince. I tell Nicole, like, "Hey, I'm gonna get up and go to the bathroom, and I also want to do a once around and see like who else is in this bar. Like you want to scope out the place." I was like, "Okay, just make sure nobody sits in my seat." And these 2 guys are kind of hovering and go, "Oh, do you want me to sit in your seat to keep it warm?" And without missing a beat, I was just like, "No, Nicole can take care of herself. She won't let anybody sit there." And I just walk away, and I don't think anything of it. I come back, and whose tush is in my seat? Vince. And Nicole looks very unamused. And I get back and she's like, "What took you so long?" And I was like, "Nicole, I literally just went into the bathroom. There's 2 people ahead of me and then I went. I was gone maybe 5 minutes." She's like, "Well, it felt forever. Vince told me like 3 different nicknames that he wanted me to call him and like he just wouldn't stop talking and I turned the other way and then Peter came back and I tried to like get distracted to talk to Peter and like how bad is that? Like I have to get rid of Vince by talking to this 50-year-old." So that happened. And I was just like, "Okay, Vince, like, thanks for keeping my seat warm, I guess, whatever." So he goes away, comes back like an hour or two later. And again, like we're at the corner of the bar. So a lot of people were squeezing in like next to either me or her to like get into order, which was fine. Like we kept like moving to make room. Like I passed a lot of drinks back, no problem. That doesn't bother me. But so Vince spills his drink on my leg, which again, like not what if it was like all over my hair and my face, I would have been annoyed, but like whatever. A little bit of booze on my leg, it's not the end of the world. So I don't even think like I really reacted. I was just like, "Oh," but like if you and he acknowledged that he spilled the drink on me. And then in my head, I'm just like, if you spill a drink on somebody, like even if you're very drunk, your initial reaction should be, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Can I get you a napkin?" Right? Like I'm not insane to think that that's a normal reaction. So that reaction didn't happen. So then I think I just like gave him a look and then I asked the bartender for a napkin. And then all of a sudden I feel his hand on my leg where the drink had spilled. And he just places $40 on my leg as if they were like napkins to clean it up. And I just look at him and I go, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Here, here." And I was like, "What is this for? Like, I don't want your money." He goes, "Do whatever you want with it." And hands me the $40. So then Nicole, of course, is like, "Take it. Just put it in your purse. Like, don't ask questions." So I made $40 because he spilled his drink on me. And never have I had an interaction like that in my life. So that was interesting. They've done studies about kinks and they have seen kinks are hereditary. So whatever you're into, your parents were into. Well, that's weird. That's really weird. You did say that what you were gonna say was disturbing, but I didn't expect you to take it that way. So interesting. Hand on leg, $40. Yeah. So then the running joke of the rest of the night was anytime somebody came up to get a drink, I told them there was a cover charge. Like one person laughed, everybody else ignored me, but I tried. I tried to then like turn it into like a business model. Like, "Hey, you got to pay if you want to like squeeze in here to order a drink." It didn't work, but I still made $40 on the night. So that's more than I would have made just sitting in my bed or watching Netflix, which by the way, I've watched a lot of good shows recently. I've watched the Menendez brothers, both like the doc where they have the real recordings of the two brothers that are still in jail or prison rather. And also the one that um the same guy that made the Jeffrey Dahmer doc did. So it's like with actors. So I recently watched that. Then earlier today, I watched the Caitlin Connolly one that's on Hulu. So Caitlin Connolly is actually from like a town over from where I grew up. So I remember like hearing about that. And if you don't know about that one, what was it called? Little Miss Innocent on Hulu is what that one is. And basically she allegedly, I don't even know if like I have to say allegedly anymore. So she was convicted, but not with first or second degree. What's right under? I forget. You guys can help me out. But anyways, so she was poisoning her boyfriend's mother with gout medicine. And she died. So that was interesting. Third Z in that cup. Oh, no, that's way too early. So we're recording the Talking Late Fitness podcasts later lately because of Sean's new schedule. So it was like 10 p.m. my time when we record. And the first time we did it, I took my third Z before because I was like, I need to start my bedtime routine now, or like my eyes are going to be wide open because we got like the lights and like the sounds and the screens and all of these things. And I almost fell asleep during the podcast. So now I have to wait till after the podcast to take my third Z. Otherwise, we going to go down. It's not going to be good. Something else that's new. What do you guys think about dating on LinkedIn? I've been seeing a lot about it on TikTok and no, not TikTok because I don't really use TikTok, but my sister says it's basically TikTok because I look at Instagram reels. I did message somebody and ask them to go to coffee on LinkedIn. I know the person. So that makes it a little bit better. But so basically there's this person that is or was a member at my gym, and we had like a couple of like very small conversations, and I had mustered up the courage that, oh, the next time that I'm going to see him, I'm just going to ask him if he wants to get coffee. Like it seems like we have stuff in common. Like he's cute, he seems normal, he doesn't have social media, which is either like a big red flag or a big green flag. Still unsure about it. And that's how I found his LinkedIn. But he hasn't been here in months. So one of the coaches, I was telling him about it, so he kind of like got in his ear when he was doing one of his PT sessions. This is before he went on his like gym hiatus apparently, and was just like, hey, he didn't say my name, like there's this cute bubbly girl who's like interested in you, and apparently he like lit up, but he didn't say my name. So like anybody's lit up when you like pump their ego like that. So anyways, I slid into his LinkedIn yesterday and I'm waiting to hear back, but that honestly might be the new like dating of the future. I don't know. We'll see. You heard that's a thing now. I mean, why not? I mean, because it's not meant for that. You know, it could be a turn off. He could read the message and be like, okay, you're a psycho bitch. What are you doing? Which is fair. And that's fine. I'll receive that. Or if he ignores me, that's totally fine too. Like willing to accept that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just at this point, I mean, what am I left with? What are the options? What are the options? We don't really have that many at this point. So the dating apps, we just, they're tough. They are tough. And apparently going to the bar on a Saturday night was unsuccessful. Oh, before we left, these two guys did come over and talk to us. One was dressed up as a hot dog. So I asked him, like, you know that Halloween is like 3 weeks away, and he claimed that he had a Halloween party, but I don't know that I believe that anybody's dressing up for Halloween parties. Yeah, I think he actively chose to show up looking like a wiener at the bar. So there was that. That's about it. I haven't been on a date in a little bit. I went on a couple of dates with this guy that I actually did know. He's super nice, super kind. Um, a woman has needs. Batteries can only go so far. Oh God, Ed. Like the thing is, I need somebody who like respects my independence and also like has their own independence. If that makes sense. Like, I don't even know how to describe it anymore. I don't even know. We're working on that in therapy. The thing is I really like my life how it is right now. So for somebody to come along and make me want to like change my life or shift what I'm doing, that's going to be hard. And I don't fault anybody out there for that, but it's like, so even this morning I was messaging this guy on, what was it, on Hinge, and literally I counted them 15 messages and I've asked every single question. And I know that's a little bit of my fault, like especially with being a reporter just by nature. Like I want to ask, I want to inquire. But then I look at the conversation and I'm like, this bro has asked nothing about me. I know a lot about him. I know about his kids. I know about his nephews at this point. And he knows nothing about me. So here we are. What can you do? It is what it is. But I'm home for a little bit, so who knows? Maybe we'll fill up the calendar with some random dates every now and then. Ugh, that sounds terrible. Sounds terrible, but I know it's necessary. Nicole and we're making an effort though to go out either on Saturdays or Sundays. Our rule, well, we did 2 drinks last night, but our rule is going to be just one drink. We're going to go out at a respectable time. Also Wiener Man and his friend, Wiener Man, they what time was it? It was like 11. They're like, "Why are you guys going home so early?" And I looked at them, I was like, "I don't false advertise myself. This is way past my bedtime." And if we lived in New York City and it was past 11, or if I was out in Vegas or something, okay, yeah, you might stay out till like 1. Ooh, letting my hair down. But we're in Syracuse, New York. Want to know when all the shootings and stabbings happened? It's after 11 p.m. So it's time for us to go home. Nothing good happens after that hour. And again, false advertising. I normally don't go out at all. So the fact that I'm out till 11 on a Saturday was a big deal. It was a big deal. And that's all we can do. So it is what it is. I'm really excited about the new content that I'm going to be doing. Married 22 years. Congratulations. How did you meet your wife? Yeah, so the next competition that I will be at and on the road is going to be Desert City Classic in Arizona. I'm so excited. I'm going to be staying with my bestie, Presley. And when we're there, we're going to do this together. So that will be the week of, where's my calendar? I'm in November. We're not there yet. Okay, so this week I'll probably do our live maybe on Thursday. That could be fun. Either Wednesday or Thursday. So it'll be kind of a quick turnaround, but maybe we'll have some things to talk about. And then we'll get in that routine of like either Wednesday or Thursday. And then I will be with Presley on Wednesday, the 6th of November. So that's when we'll do it together, because that'll be really fun. And then right from there, oh my gosh, I am going to the Yeti HQ once I get to Austin. So I'm pumped about that. I'm going with Emily Rolfe because her and Kyle Rolfe will actually be at Tactical Games Nationals. He's starting his own company doing something with tactical. I don't know exactly what it is. I need to inquire a little bit more. I plan to have both of them as guests for the podcast. So that's going to be a ton of fun. Maybe we'll do it from Yeti HQ. That could be really fun. We'll see. Depending on the day. I might just do it at whatever Airbnb or hotel that they're staying at. If there's like some nice outdoor area. She was a hostess. I was a waiter. Aw. I kept sitting my section. Oh, she kept sitting in my section, so I made her work and get the tables water to drink. And the rest was history. I love that. It's actually funny the amount of people that I've met that have met their significant other. Either the top contenders are like high school sweetheart, college, or work. Well, high school, no. I did have like a high school sweetheart, but we broke up before college because we were going in 2 different states. It just wasn't going to work. He's married now. He also is he a pilot in the Air Force or Navy or something? So he travels a ton for work anyways. So even like our lifestyles never would have been conducive, at least with what I'm doing now anyways. We would be on totally different opposite ends of the world. And then in college, I would say the one guy that I was really in love with, he lives, ironically enough, right outside of where Presley lives in Arizona with his girlfriend and she either has 1 or 2 kids. And then work, yeah, I mean, I work from my house or in person. I'm waiting to see if I ever meet somebody on the road, but that is 0 for 0. So we're doing great there. So you are going to get an average Joe CrossFitter. What do you mean? Oh, so are you saying you were going to get no, no, no. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I don't really care how good somebody is at CrossFit in order to, like, date. All I'm looking for is somebody that's active. Like, I wouldn't be able to date somebody who is lazy. I think lazy is one of the worst qualities with anything that a human can have. Of course, you have, like, a lazy Sunday or a lazy day or afternoon, but somebody that just, like, has no motivation or no, like, passion for life or a hobby or something. Um, so yeah, somebody who doesn't work out, that's just not gonna work. Like, I don't care if you bodybuild, you just weight lift, CrossFit, pickleball, whatever, just something that, like, shows that you have an active lifestyle. I think it is. So, yeah, but that's about it. Um, let's take a look at the games, the final today. The Packers did win 34-13, the final. It looks like the Buccaneers are going to win. Just 3.5 minutes left for them. The Texans, beat the Patriots. And yeah, I'm going to go flip my laundry now. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. I'm glad that we are back. We're in the normal rotation now. Stay tuned for more content. I think the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to shoot a couple things and then schedule them to have a nice little slow drip. We'll probably just do one a week for now. Maybe depending on like how many people outside of the CrossFit space, we can do them maybe even like 2 a week, but we'll see where we get with that. And as always, thanks for tuning in. You guys know where to find me. Send me a message if you have any topics that you want me to cover, and I will see you guys soon.